Welcome to Network TV. In this programme, we learn how kids learn about energy and how bills are being used to market Easton. We meet NTV's answer to Jeremy Clarkson and look into the future of green power generation. Learning about energy can be fun. Just ask Easton's education team.
We're a small team, there's 4 of us, and we support some 4,000 schools across Easton region and also some of the schools in the Midlands. It's part of Easton's overall community support programme. Today we're at the Crucial Crew, and the Crucial Crew organisation is where people from various professions and organisations come together with the common aim of making children aware of the potential dangers around them. The idea of our Staying Alive safety set is to make children aware of the potential dangers of playing near substations, of flying kites near overhead lines, and also of the potential dangers in the home as well.
The baby's trying to grab the plug, and if it didn't, it might burn itself.
It's an interactive set. The children can actually get involved. It's got sounds and lights if they actually do anything wrong.
I got electrocuted.
They can actually use the magnetic dots to identify and actually get involved and have a little bit of fun, but at the same time learn the valuable safety messages.
Okay, whatever you do, do not pull this.
But children's safety is everyone's concern. Wendy Townsend is from Rayleigh Customer Services.
Well, obviously with all these plugs and loose wires in the bathroom.
I actually volunteered as a member of Easton to get involved rather than sat behind a desk, to actually get out and pass on what my knowledge of electricity to the children. You should always have a fire.
The electricity safety is a very important part of our work, and we enlisted the help of the children's author Quentin Blake. We asked him to illustrate a book for us, and he said not only would he illustrate it, but he'd like to write it as well, as he had a near miss with electricity when he was younger. We've sent copies to all the schools in the United Kingdom, and we've had a brilliant response. The schools from all around the country are contacting Easton. The subject of energy appears in the national curriculum, and particularly at primary level, where the teachers are non-specialist teachers, they were struggling with delivering the electricity content of the curriculum. So we've designed some kits to help them do that.
It's getting brighter as it gets further along. So really that's like a coil of wire, isn't it? It certainly made the subject interesting this morning.
When you want it on, you push that there, and then when you don't want it on, you push it like that.
Chantel here has worked out her eyes, and she's got her motor here, and she's invented her own little switch here which should turn the bow tie round.
They have a yellow light, no.
The problem we have as a team, there's only 4 of us, and we're trying to get the message to some 4,000 schools out there. We need help from volunteers throughout the company. There's excellent development opportunities for staff who get involved, and as we hear from Wendy, they're thoroughly enjoyable days.
Yeah, I do enjoy it. It's nice by doing things together, showing them safety and them pointing things out to you. It's knowing that when they walk out of this room that they will actually know and learn something that can help them.
In today's commercial environment, communication with the customer is vital. Well, one piece of communication is guaranteed to reach all of them: their bill.
This is Easton's print and mailing operation, where we produce all the electricity and gas bills and all the associated documents to keep in touch with our customers. We start from a blank sheet of paper going into the machines behind me, and we finish with the complete document that the customer receives on their doormat. The whole system is controlled by a barcode that's produced at the time of the document composition. And this ensures that all the appropriate documents are contained within the right envelope, that you don't get my bill or any other document. Also, it helps with the Royal Mail sorting to help us achieve the maximum discounts from the Royal Mail.
Well, Easton Group as a whole are one of Royal Mail's top 100 customers, and as such they have a dedicated account team from Royal Mail to look after all of their various mailing concerns, making sure that bills are produced to the correct specifications, the correct readability, and are ready for collection as and when we agree. We've been working very hard over the last few years to maximise the amount of mail that's actually produced by the machines and sorted by the machines, so that Eastern can actually benefit from the highest levels of discounts possible.
The maximum discount we can receive is under a system called walk sort, for which we can achieve a 40% discount. But to gain this, we need to sort the outgoing mail into the individual postman's delivery round. The system does it for us automatically. The operation here is manned by staff from Xerox Business Services who complete the whole operation for us.
On average, we'll produce between 80,000 and 100,000 envelopes a day. That in turn may be around about 250,000 to 300,000 physical pages. The people on site are Xerox staff. However, we work very much in a partnership with Eastern. We identify future needs and we will work through them together. I have 2 full-time programmer analysts, and their job is to take the raw data and present it in a way that the Eastern business would like to see their bills. But they'll also have in hand future projects.
We're looking currently to replace the microfiche with an online system. We're very much aware that you can't deal with a customer on the telephone and use microfiche at the same time. So we're looking to find an online system that will enable people to deal with the customer continuously, but we can also build into this at this time the appropriate Chinese walls to ensure that only the appropriate staff see the appropriate information.
The advantage of this system, known as Print Manager, is its ability to adapt to Eastern's future marketing plans.
Over the last year, we've formed a number of partnership alliances. 2 of them are with Barclaycard and RJB Mining, who trade under the Lionheart brand. What this means is that these deals are branded, which means we have to answer the phone under the partner's name, and also brand correspondence such as letters and bills under the partner's logo. Print Manager gives us the flexibility to do that. In the future, we'll be bringing new products onto the market, and one of them in particular is dual fuel, where we have the flexibility to bill customers for both gas and electricity together. And what we might do is bring accounts together on one statement. That is if the customer would like us to, and again we want to make sure that the brand fits and we're presenting the right image to customers, and Print Manager lets us do that.
Engineers are often given new pieces of equipment to work with, but some are really top gear. The Unimog is a new overhead line vehicle, lighter, faster and safer than its predecessors. But what do the experts think?
Off and on the road, it's a much better vehicle. You can take this vehicle nearly anywhere really now. I mean, it's a brilliant little machine.
The Unimog itself is a unique vehicle. It was primarily built as a tractor. Now, if you think of an off-road vehicle, that's the ideal sort of vehicle that you need to get the chaps to where they have to go onto the fields. Combined with the Versalift tower that we have mounted on it, which is also unique in that height range in that it has a zoom boom on it. This gives it greater accuracy when the linesman is going anywhere near the line itself. Because with a zoom boom you can go directly to the line, whereas with a fly boom when you come out you create an arc which creates danger in itself towards the line.
The outrigs are different than all. Where the old ones, they used to go out on the road quite a bit. These ones are very near to the vehicle. They're nice and tucked into the vehicle itself.
Because it is a light vehicle and because it is a small vehicle, and the farmers will allow it onto their fields. Whereas if they look at the bigger 4x4s, that's the cross-country vehicles, they will not allow those vehicles onto the field because of the damage.
You just drop down into a lower gear, into the four-wheel drive, and it goes across the fields very easy. I mean, we went across some real marshy fields last week. We never had no problem at all. We was out weekend working the storm. We had no problem with it at all getting anywhere with it. brilliant machine for shifting the bill. Ideal for faults. You know, you've got a fault and you want somebody there in a hurry. It's the machine to send. Nippy machine and all.
The crews were thrilled that they got these vehicles because they know that they can now do all of the work that's given to them. In the past, we couldn't get to places because we hadn't got the facility, we hadn't got the vehicle that would do it. Plus, with winds, etc., the boom that they've got on there now does give them the ability to work more precisely and less dangerously, which is, of course, looking after the driver at the same time.
The world is warming up. Climate change is happening. So what are we going to do about it?
Eastern, as a major energy company, has to take account of the emerging issue of sustainability, which briefly is the issue that we must not leave a legacy of environmental damage for others that follow us behind. We have a target under the Kyoto Protocol to reduce as a country our emissions of carbon dioxide by 12.5% and an aspirational target of 20% by 2010. This is going to be very difficult to achieve, and we will not achieve this as an energy company on our own. We'll need support of government, we'll need the support of manufacturers for new products, we'll need the support of our customers to demand the environmentally friendly products, and we need the support of pressure groups to welcome the small steps that we'll be making towards the achievement of a more sustainable energy company.
Well, Friends of the Earth has just published some research into all the electricity companies in the industry who are going to be supplying to the domestic market. And while Eastern didn't come right at the top of the league table, it was the best out of all the regional electricity companies. That's largely because it's got specific targets for generating power from renewable energy sources and also from combined heat and power, and also because it set up a special scheme for customers to support renewable energy development through their fuel bills. We'd like to see Eastern now really developing into a sustainable energy services company, and that's what we'll be discussing with them in the future. Really how they can move from trying to sell as many units of power to their customers as possible to providing the services that everyone needs, heat, light and so on, with minimal impact on the environment.
Well, Eastern are looking at some of the technologies that have proved themselves to be economic over the past 6 or 7 years of government support. Now those would include landfill gas, onshore wind, and we may do 1 or 2 pilot projects with waste to energy. The Danish wind turbine industry now employs more people than the UK coal industry. Eastern is currently just finishing off construction of its first wind farm in Northern Ireland at Slievenage-Hanhen, where we've invested in the 1 megawatt prototype of the RES designed wind turbine. And we've also just secured 3 contracts for wind farm developments in North Cambridgeshire.
In the UK and Ireland, we have 40% of Europe's wind. That's a fantastic natural resource that basically common sense dictates that we should use. The machine that Eastern have bought is the first example of the 52-1000. So what we're going to do is that's the demonstration machine. So we're going to do tests on that, make sure that it's working as well as we think it will, and then go on to produce more, hopefully. It's a large machine. It's roughly the same size as the machines that we have installed here in Cark, but these machines are rated at 600 kilowatts. So for a slight increase in the rotor diameter, for the Res 52-1000, we can produce much more energy, 1 megawatt of energy. Well, the Res 52-1000 was designed and built in the UK, so it's an opportunity for the UK to take part in a big global market for wind energy. It's estimated that over the course of its lifetime, a wind farm will produce 80 times the energy that was used to develop, manufacture and install the machines. Now, when you compare that to conventional power generation, which only ever gives back about a third of the energy that it takes to install and fuel and transport the fuel from one place to the other, then you can see that it's a really sustainable way of getting our power. There are no hidden costs, there are no nasty surprises that are waiting for us in 20 years' time. Some people don't like the way they look, but other people think they're graceful, elegant machines.
And the government recognises that by adopting this 10% target, we're actually going to be pushed to use the existing technologies to reach that. So we're looking at one or two newer technologies to actually fill the gap, and one of those is offshore wind. We're down here at Clacton because the very first offshore wind energy contract, which was awarded 2 years ago, was actually awarded for a site that's about 5 kilometres offshore here. Now, offshore wind has several advantages over its onshore counterpart. One is that the scale of development is much larger. A typical onshore development is probably only a matter of 10 to 20 megawatts in size in the UK. Now, offshore developments are likely to occur in around the size of 100 megawatts or more, so it's likely to make substantial steps towards both our target and the national target. The other major technology that's likely to play a significant role in meeting our renewables target is biomass. That's using plant material as an alternative fuel for power stations. We can either mass burn the material direct, as in incineration of straw bales, or we can convert the plant material into either a liquid fuel or a gaseous fuel that we can use as an alternative to fossil fuel. In recent years, we've seen a lot of set-aside land appear in the countryside, where farmers have basically been paid to grow nothing on those fallow fields. And what biomass potentially offers the opportunity for is to grow these energy crops on those areas that currently aren't being used.
Global climate change is going to affect all aspects of our lives. It's going to impact on wildlife, for example, coastal habitats that are affected from sea level rise. That's a particular problem in East Anglia. We could see more coastal erosion, more storms and floods as weather becomes a lot more extreme. And in the southeast as a whole, there's been much more drought and an impact on crops. So all areas are going to be affected. We might all see rises in insurance premiums. So climate change is something that we all ought to be concerned about and doing our bit to try to prevent.
Well, that's it for this edition. Well done to Michael David from Milton, who won the last competition. Network TV will be back in the new year. Until then, have a very Merry Christmas.